I did that doco a couple of years ago, said nuclear was the debate we needed to have. It seems to be pretty strong these days, doesn't it? In April, Labor established a committee dominated by their own MPs to inquire into and report on the consideration of nuclear power generation, including deployment of small modular reactors in Australia. Now, Labor obviously wanted to use this committee to undermine the coalition's nuclear policy, but it's not really working out that way for them. Last week, an environmental group called WePlanet testified before the committee. Now, they describe themselves as a network of grassroots citizens' organisations united by a belief in science-based solutions to the climate crisis. And if Labor was expecting more condemnation of nuclear, they were left disappointed.
Nuclear can keep communities powered without air pollution or carbon emissions. Australia's nuclear ban, introduced in 1998, is outdated.
Yeah, increasingly, environmental groups are the ones who see the benefits of nuclear. Tyrone D'Lisle is from WePlanet and he joins me live from Brisbane. Good to speak to you, Tyrone. Tell us, let's start off with the big picture up front. You're concerned about climate change and global warming. You drastically want to reduce emissions across the globe, right?
Yeah, that's correct, Chris. We have to dramatically reduce our emissions. The science is very clear that we are heading towards 2 degrees of warming, and how far we go beyond that and how resilient we are to that future really depends on decisions that we make now. And we're not just talking about decarbonising the existing electricity demand. We're talking about decarbonising our entire economy, and that's challenging, and we believe that it's going to be very tricky to do that when we don't have certain options on the table, such as nuclear energy.
And in effect, that's where the whole world is at, right? The argument about whether or not to get to net zero is finished. The whole world's trying to get to net zero. It's a matter of how you can do that. And the argument in Australia is whether you can do it through a renewables plus storage model. Do you think that's possible? And how does the prospect of nuclear power in Australia compare?
Look, I think the path to net zero is going to be difficult, and we need governments of all persuasions to be honest with the Australian public that this is going to be a period of difficult change, and that we need to have all options on the table. So we're not necessarily saying that we should lift the ban and start building nuclear tomorrow. What we're saying is we need to get over this political hurdle and depoliticise the energy discussion, because it needs to be about evidence and about good governance, and we need to look at individual projects as they come up. We're already seeing that there is great community concern. We saw from the hearings across regional Queensland with the nuclear inquiry that there is already great concern among communities that these renewable projects are having impacts on biodiversity and community. And look, there are going to be concerns about nuclear as well. But as I say, our position at WePlanet is that we really need to depoliticise this. We need both sides of politics to come together and be honest with the public that this is going to be a bumpy ride, and that we need to have all options on the table.
Yeah, so the sensible first step would be to adopt the Will Shackle approach, and others advocating it. That is, get rid of all the bans against domestic nuclear energy. Labor says they've got no set against nuclear because of waste, because of safety and the like. They're only against it on economic grounds. So let's get rid of the ban and see what proposals come forward.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. We believe that the ban is an impediment to the discussion around what is the best pathway forward. We know through the AEMO ISP that is touted by Labor as their policy plan that there is no role for nuclear, but AEMO are very clear that they don't model nuclear energy because it is currently prohibited under government policy. So our view is that we really need to get rid of these bans. We need to depoliticise the energy discussion, and that we need to get facts and evidence into the debate about how we get to net zero. Because as I said before, it is going to be a bumpy road. We need to decarbonise electricity. We need to electrify everything, our homes, our cars and our industries. We also need to address livestock and other sectors as well. So we definitely need to be moving forward, and we need bipartisanship on how to get there.
Tyrone, you make a lot of sense, but bipartisanship seems to be a long way off. I appreciate you joining us. That's Tyrone D'Lisle with WePlanet Australia. It's pretty logical, isn't it? Have all options on the table and let the facts speak. Let's see what's best for the country rather than have partisan games played over this issue.